I'll write it and we'll do it live.
So to get that perfect barbecue, you use wood. Are you sure it's safe? Whatever. We put the lighter fluid on, strike the match, and oh! Should we call the fire department? That might be a good idea.
All right, good evening and welcome to the really big Barbecue Central show. This is the show that talks about all things that are important in the world of barbecue and grilling. The show originating from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city, Bomb City, USA, Cleveland, Ohio, the barbecue capital of the North Coast. I'm your program host, Greg Rempe. Happy to have you aboard here on your Tuesday evening's live fire fun and frivolity show. If you want to jump in on the show this evening, or if you would like to learn how to follow the show in off hours, here's how you do that.
You can get in touch with the show by sending an email to Greg at BBQCentralShow.com. Follow us on all the social media channels at BBQ Central Show. And be sure to subscribe to the show podcast feed on your favorite podcast platform.
Anything else you want to find out about the show can be found at the main website, thebbqcentralshow.com. And here's what's happening in case you didn't get the newsletter coming up in about 12 minutes from now. He was once on the show all the way back in 2018, if you can believe it. But in between TV shows and book writings and restaurant touring, he has found 18 to 20 minutes to come back on the show and talk about Barbecue USA. It is the host of that show, Michael Symon, will be joining us. So looking forward to talking with Michael about Season 2 of Barbecue USA. I'm sure some of you that are steeped in the history of barbecue television know a lot of shows come on for one season or a pilot show, and then that's it. You never hear from them again. So the fact that Food Network has taken on the show for successive seasons is an accomplishment in its own right. And then we'll talk about the potential longevity 3, 4, 5 years from now. You remember last week when we were talking with the embedded correspondents, we had the 100% assurity question of if this show gets to 5 seasons, then XYZ. And we'll talk to Michael about that as well. 35 past the hour. If Michael wasn't big enough, what some consider to be the GOAT of competition barbecue, Darren Warth from Iowa Smokey D's, will rejoin the show. Darren has been a guest on the show pretty much since its inception back in 2006 as a podcast, and then 2008 when we started doing the live show. Darren, of course, time has passed since we've made the exclusive announcement here on the show a number of months ago, but Darren was part of the 4 living members that are going into the 2023 BBQ Hall of Fame this year. Of course, there are the posthumous or legacy members, as we call them, and then, of course, there is the, I'm going to call it the Achievement Award, but that's not it. There's a special term. It's the Impact Award. That's what it is. Which was Ray Basso in the Barbecue Forum. So we'll talk to Darren about getting into the Barbecue Hall of Fame this year. We'll talk to him about where the state of competition barbecue is, in his opinion. And then we'll also talk about his podcast, which is about 14 or 15 episodes old at this point. See why he bothered getting into that. And that'll wrap the first hour. We'll move to the second hour. And in the second hour, because it is the first Tuesday of a brand new month, of course, YouTube maven Sam the Cooking Guy will be back on. I have a full agenda to run down with Sam, which means we will get to 0% of that. I have a very type of a sidewinder question that I'm going to be asking him as well. So we'll see what Sam has to say about that. And then closing out the show, a little bit of left field. I got an email from a guy named Brandon Bressner a couple weeks ago, and he said, hey, would you have any interest in talking about the first ever griddle contest? It was attached to a KCBS event. Brandon is a KCBS event promoter / organizer in, of all places, Eureka, Illinois. And somehow they were able to put together a griddle contest. Now, this happened, I believe, on the actual day that the contest was happening, KCBS. So I don't think there was a lot of crossover between the KCBS teams. Not sure where the timelines stood in relation to being able to take part in this particular event. But then there were also people outside that had no interest in doing competition barbecue whatsoever, but they're fans of cooking on griddles, brought their griddle to the contest, and we'll talk all about it, learn all about it. Maybe this is something that they're looking to press out. You look back over a number of years, and the SEA was coming up, and people are saying, hey, this is something. SEA was attaching on Friday nights to a lot of the big KCBS events that were happening Saturday and Sunday over the course of that weekend. KCBS thought it would be a bad idea to hitch to that wagon, which, of course, we all know was terrible.
Get that big stuff out of here.
They should have done that, but they didn't. SEA has continued to blow up. KCBS has started to meander, if we're being politically correct. And their state contest thing absolutely blew. So missing the boat on that one, maybe on the precipice of catching whatever the next big wave might be as far as griddle contests are concerned. So that's the way the show shakes out. Michael Symon here shortly. Darren Warth after him. And in the second hour, Sam the Cooking Guy and Brandon Bressner and Ryan Hoogland for the first ever griddle contest talk. Don't forget, you can follow me socially, Instagram, Twitter, if they're calling it that anymore, TikTok, and Snapchat at BBQ Central Show. We say good evening to those of you watching through our video streaming platforms. You can go to Facebook or Twitch/BBQ Central Show. You can also watch live through YouTube, which is youtube.com/@BBQ Central Show. And yes, we do have a new YouTube poll question of the week. Pitching off of last week's embedded correspondence, as it relates to meat, you know exactly what I'm talking about when it comes to Thor's hammer. And currently 77% of you, the voting public, are saying, yes, you do know what I'm talking about when I reference the term Thor's hammer. So we'll ask all the guests here this evening. We'll also keep track of the YouTube poll as the show wears on tonight. And again, as I promise each and every week, I'll try to give you a final account. I don't think I've ever done that yet, but we'll really try hard tonight. And we'll go from there. I want to start tonight by giving a special thanks to my pal Doug Scheiding, the longest-running embedded correspondent from Texas. Little extra love as we open the show here tonight, because he's a man of his word. If you recall, last week, during the 100% assurity questions, he committed blindly that he would do a Thor's hammer for his weekly Meet Me on Monday bit that he does for Instagram. And to his credit, he came through. If you go to Row Cookers on Instagram, it was there late last night. It's there for you to see all day today. The untrimmed in the cryovac Thor's hammer. Then he takes it out. Then he trims it up. Then he cooks it. You see the cooked full Thor's hammer presentation. Ultimately, he breaks it down into, I don't know if it was tortillas or quesadillas or whatever he was doing, but he committed to it. He came right through it only days after committing to it blindly. And I can't imagine a scenario where you might see somebody like me doing Thor's hammer. You never know. Hypocrisy is a dish that is often cooked up in this house. So if you really never know, but I certainly don't see it happening in the near future. I'm not going to speak for John or Rusty either. But I can see John cooking it before Rusty if I'm going to start laying bets here. So I appreciate Doug being a man of his word and cooking Thor's hammer for everybody to see. If you don't follow him, check him out on Instagram. He's got 50,000 followers or whatever he's doing. So he's a budding Instagram maven as well. Feedback on the show from the past couple weeks. Jamie in Utah writing in, Gregory, your sister Kate is goddamn national treasure. Protect her at all costs. I love the bacon conversation, but there was a line in the first episode of The Four that was completely blown over, and I thought it was the best. When you said, quote, we're done having kids, and she just nonchalantly says, good. That line killed me. I think you need to make her a quarterly guest. Jamie in Utah. Jamie, thank you for writing in. Jack in North Carolina writing in, Greg, I hope I'm not out of line when I ask if you might give deep consideration to having the embedded correspondence on as a weekly segment to close the show out in that 10:35 slot. In most cases, more isn't better, but I think in this case, it might be. Jack, your input is under advisement, and I certainly doubt that that's actually going to happen. Mike in Ohio writing in. Greg, I thought Ken Johnson from the Home Depot was a great interview last week. I don't think anyone has ever had such an interview on any other podcast before. You continue to push the envelope of what podcast listeners should expect from shows they consume. Love the show. Podcast listener only. Regards, Mike. And finally, Devin in Kentucky going a couple weeks back. Greg, the sound quality in Daniel Vaughn's latest interview was putrid. How dare you squawk about how much your sound is, how great your sound is, and then deliver such a substandard product? Hypocrite much? Love the show. Podcast listener only. Regards, Devin. Devin, yes, hypocrite often. Thank you. It's the hidden mantra of the show. I live in hypocrisy. It is a state I live in. Michael Symon is ready to go. We'll get to him here in just 1 second. I'll talk to you quickly about pits and spits. Are you tired of settling for a mediocre grilling experience? Me too. It's time to step it up and bring the ultimate flavor and cooker to the backyard barbecues. The folks at Pits and Spits offering charcoal grills of only the highest quality live fire cooking experiences you can get in the market today using either wood or charcoal. Their solid fuel grills produce those classic flavors you're looking for when you have the time to fire up the grill and cook for family and friends. With a large adjustable fuel tray, you can raise and lower the fire to control and fine-tune the heat. This is their take on the very popular Santa Maria style grill that you're seeing all over the place. You check them out at pitsandspits.com/BBQ Central, and you use the promo code Charcoal Central, all one word together, Charcoal Central, for $150 off any charcoal grill. And as I tell you, when you get there and you see the price tag, you might faint a little bit, but remember, only the top quality products and materials being used at Pits and Spits. And it's going to last your entire lifetime, and your kids are going to fight over it, and then their kids are going to fight it over it because it's a generational piece, a generational cooker. So, as we say in the barbecue world, buy the best and only cry once, and that certainly holds true with Pits and Spits. Pitsandspits.com/BBQ Central, Charcoal Central for $150 off any charcoal grill. And we'll be back with Michael Symon right after this. Stick around, be right back.
You're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Broadcasting live from the BBQ Central Show studios in Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
This portion of the show being brought to you by CookinPellets.com, your number one source for quality wood pellets for all your pellet-driven cookers. Visit CookinPellets.com for more information or to purchase. And then when you're ready to purchase, go to Amazon.com or go to Walmart.com or go to Lowe's.com for not only your best purchase price, but best shipping rates as well. The good folks over at CookinPellets.com. Leading off the show tonight, the host of BBQ USA, which you can watch each Monday at 10 p.m. Eastern. And follow along as you are introduced to some of the biggest barbecue competitions and barbecue teams in the country. Here to talk about Season 2 and about live fire in general is Iron Chef, book author, TV show host, restaurateur, and most importantly, fellow Clevelander, Michael Symon, joining me once again. Hey, Michael, how are you?
Fantastic. How are you? After that guy wrote in, I'm nervous that my sound is not going to be fantastic. I don't want to,
Good news. You sound top-notch. Top-notch. So let's start with the YouTube poll question of the week, Michael. Anxious to get your take on this. As it relates to meat, you know exactly what I'm talking about when I use the term Thor's hammer. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
All right. Good. By the way, 71% are also saying they know exactly what I'm talking about when I say Thor's hammer. You ever cooked Thor's hammer? Is that something that is trending in your world right now?
Yeah, I think a little bit. I think that, anytime you can give something a good nickname, it tends to trend.
Let me make an observation to lead off here before we jump into the TV talk. Michael Symon is the fittest he's ever been on TV right now, and I observe that in the most macho way possible.
Oh, thanks. I'm 53, so I'm fighting back. All those years wrestling and St. Ed's and all that kind of stuff. It equipped me properly to deal with aging, I think.
We're coming up on halfway through season 2 of BBQ USA. Since we weren't able to time it out right last year, season 1 was taking place. Can you take us back to the beginnings of all this and tell us how the show came together?
Yeah, I'd love to. It's a lot of the shows that we do on Food Network, we actually, myself and the production team that, we work together, we typically will come up with an idea and pitch an idea. This show was actually pitched to me by Food Network. It was a show that they really wanted to do. They wanted to dig a little deeper into the barbecue world and more so competition barbecue as opposed to restaurant barbecue. So, when we first did it, we thought this is a show more of like a one-run special kind of season. It's most of the competitions are featuring a lot of the same things. So to show a different look every week is tricky, but we've continued to learn how to do that. We've traveled around the country. We've met some really spectacular people. A lot of the same people you see every week, but you meet a lot of new people every week. And the great thing about these competitions is, they're not just in the barbecue meccas of the world. They're also in, you're in Florida for a barbecue competition. It's not like when I think barbecue, I don't think Florida, but there were a lot of great teams there, some from Florida, some from all over the rest of the country. And I think that's what really makes the show fun. And, the great thing about the barbecue world is the people in it. And as long as you're able to tell the story about those people, I think it always makes for a good watch and good TV because they truly have each other's back. It is a family kind of environment. Everyone really looks out for each other. They're competing against each other every week. And of course they want to win, but they still really look out for each other. And it really is a community unlike any I've ever seen.
The results of season 1 must have been good enough, obviously, to greenlight that season 2. How soon do you know into season 1 that season 2 is something you're going to need to be working on?
Yeah, it depends. I mean, that formula has changed a little bit as time continues with Food Network. You typically know with a lot of shows, like halfway through a season. But sometimes it doesn't happen till after the season, and a lot of it depends on how much lead time a show needs to make it happen. So a lot of that goes in. But yeah, season 1 was a tremendous success. Season 2 has been doing great. We'll see where that brings us.
It doesn't appear so. I mean, look, I'm a nerd. I know all about these competitions and when they're taking place over the course of the year. So when episode 1 of season 2 opens up, it's the American Royal. I mean, we're almost at American Royal 2023 here, so about a year removed from when we're seeing it to when it actually took place a year ago. Is there a concerted effort to vanilla the dates so people don't feel like it's old content?
I don't think everybody knows, but I think most people do. Food Network is it's not live television. It's not what it is. So, I mean, it never has been. It's not like we're trying to show we're something that we're not. So we try, like last year we got picked up probably just a week or two too late to make the Jack happen also, from a timing standpoint. So, maybe this year that could happen, but yeah, we don't try to pretend it's live when we're there filming, I always announce it across my social that we're there filming. So we try to be very upfront about it. And, everybody I feel in the barbecue world understands it. Maybe people that aren't in the barbecue world don't understand it as much. But I think most people know that when a show is on Food Network, it's not happening at that exact moment.
Were there 2 or 3 things that really stick out to you in season 1 that you knew you wanted to either see more of or less of if subsequent seasons were going to happen?
Well, I mean, season 1 we did almost all KCBS, which was great. It worked really well. I'm sorry, I'm moving stuff around. Worked really well for season 1. They were incredibly supportive of us. And we did a couple KCBS this year also, I believe 2 KCBS events. But we wanted to break away from that a little bit, not because we didn't like KCBS, but when you're going to just one type of event, all those teams are getting judged basically on the exact same things every week. So we wanted to hit some other, organizers this year so we could see some different styles of barbecue along the way also. I mean, and so America could see a little bit of different styles along the way also. I mean, my biggest, I love competition, obviously. I mean, I wrestled for St. Ed's. That makes you love competition. And then, I was an Iron Chef and all those things. So, obviously competition is something I adore. I wish sometimes in the barbecue competitions, they just let them go wild a little more. That the teams didn't get penalized for creativity or for going outside the box. Because, ultimately, I think that is what makes barbecue so great. I think one of the trends that we're seeing in America with barbecue right now, and I hope it starts to go into the competition world a little bit more, is barbecue is becoming hyper regional. It used to be, Texas barbecue was in Texas, but throughout the rest of the country, people were doing Texas barbecue or KC barbecue or, Carolina, whatever. Now you have people like Billy Durney at Hometown doing a very personal barbecue to how he was raised in Brooklyn. He was raised in a melting pot culture there. So when you go in there, yeah, he's using, I would say, Texas technique from the smoking, but then you get Jamaican jerk ribs and sticky ribs and pastrami and all these different things that reference how he grew up eating in Brooklyn. And I think that that's happening more and more throughout the country. And I would love to see that continue to go in that manner in the competition world. And I think eventually it will.
Is there a season 3 in the works that you can scoop us on tonight?
I wish I could say yes, absolutely. What I'll tell America is the ratings have been great so far. Keep watching like crazy, and you could guarantee that there's this. TV is very easy. Bunch of people watch it, it gets renewed. People don't watch it, it doesn't. People go, that was my favorite show. Why did it get canceled? Because you didn't watch. Very rarely does something get canceled that has giant numbers. It's the same thing with restaurants. People are like, why did that restaurant close? I love that restaurant. When did you come? Saturdays at 7:00. It was always packed. Well, you should have came Monday at 6.
Are you surprised that Food Network is allowing this kind of a show to run? And maybe I'm asking a bad question because you said they kind of came to you, or in other words, you're more or less blindly following teams at a competition, and there's no guarantee that any of them are going to place in the category, let alone win the whole thing. Other networks, including Food Network, have really seen the viewership be in those contest or chopped type shows. So this is a bit of a divergence or risk.
Yeah, I mean, we're a show that shows competition, but the show's so much deeper than that in the sense of we're also showing people's and stories and lives and techniques. And, I make something on every show. I actually do a little cooking demo on every show, and we're showing a lot of how-tos and how-whats and stories about the people. And, and then the competition does happen also. And, I would hope, and I believe that one, Food Network trusts me as a host and Simple Alien as a production company, but also I think that, it shows America that what we're doing is real. It's not bullshit. We're not candy coating it. We're not running in at the last minute and go, ooh, that team won. Get some tape on them. like that's not what happens. We go there 2 days before. We decide who we're going to follow. We follow those teams, and sometimes they win, sometimes they don't place, sometimes they're in the middle. Like that's how it is. And I would hope that the viewer would be make the show more interesting to them. Because we're championing people. That's what we're doing. And one thing that I know about the barbecue world is, you could have a team that wins 3 weeks in a row or 3 years in a row and then doesn't even place. I could go and taste, ribs from 40 different teams and pick my 5 favorites. They may not even get walks. It's just food is the beautiful thing about food, whether it's barbecue or hamburgers or pizza or upscale or steakhouses or whatever. Food is 100% opinion, and when you have something that is 100% opinion, you could judge a little bit on, okay, we're judging on tenderness, we're judging on this, we're judging on that. But ultimately, people are going to taste something and it's going to resonate with them or it isn't. And something that resonates with me may not resonate with you or someone else. So, in barbecue competitions, you could just get a table of judges that isn't in a good mood that day, and you're screwed. That's just how it works. And there's, and that's why I think that these teams competing, they always want to win, but they're not throwing full fits when they don't. Even like I've been with people that are masters that have told me they have had perfect cooks that day, and I've tasted it, and I would agree that it's a perfect cook, and they don't win, and sometimes they don't walk. 2 years ago at Memphis in May, 2 or 3 years ago at Memphis in May, I was walking around and I tasted Melissa's hog, and I mean she's one of the greatest to ever walk earth when it comes to whole hog, and I am not kidding you. It was minimally 2 times better than anything I tasted all day, and I think she took 6th.
Yeah.
6 is still great, but there's no way in hell that shouldn't have won, in my opinion. Like, and I feel I know a couple things, a little bit about food, but it was just whatever. She got a bad table or something happened, and one score, and you lose by. You're in 6th by 1/10 of a point. So it's kind of the beauty and the pain in the ass about it too.
If you were a competitor and you've seen a lot of the sanctioning bodies and those weird one-offs, like Memphis in May is a one-off, it's not part of a sanctioning body per se. Do you feel you would most align with a KCBS, an FBA, which is a little different than KCBS, or a Memphis in May style?
I would say I would probably align most with the Memphis in May style because I'm more of a freewheeler when it comes to flavors and cooking and things like that. But even in Memphis in May, they're looking for particular things. One thing that I have learned, I guess, even from Iron Chef is I cook something till I think it's right and till I think it tastes as good as it could possibly cook. And there's been times where, like if I can't remember exactly what it is, but my Iron Chef record was pretty damn good. But like if you ask me, I never thought I lost. I think I was 35 and 38 and 5 or something like that. But the 5 that I lost, I'm like, no, mine was better.
Yeah.
So. And I wasn't offended when I lost because ultimately it's the judge's opinion, and it's the same thing with Memphis in May or any of these competitions. It's like you cook something till you think it's perfect. Now, when you're talking about a brisket or a whole hog or something of that nature, obviously there's a lot of things that could go wrong in a time that long of a cook time, where you don't end up being as perfect maybe as you want, or you think I could have done this better or things like that. But purely from a flavor profile, with any competitions, I would know what I want to set out to accomplish. And, if I thought it was perfect, then I would send it in, and if the judges don't, the judges don't. But I think that's how you that's how I go about it. I don't know if that's the right way to win, but that's how I would go about it.
Last week on the show, I had my monthly embedded correspondence rekindling. One of the questions was yes or no, if BBQ USA makes it 5 seasons or longer, we should enshrine Michael Symon into the BBQ Hall of Fame. 75% of us said no. 25% of us said yes. What do you think?
Oh, I don't know. I'm very happy hanging. Like I feel very fortunate. Like I'm a fine dining chef that got into barbecue and was embraced by the barbecue community when a lot of chefs I don't think really were. And I feel incredibly fortunate about that. I give that's because of Mike Mills. Like that's like Mike Mills was in Cleveland once for something. I don't even know what. He ended up at original Lola. He ate at the restaurant. We were smoking a bunch of stuff there. And he's like, "Do you like barbecue? You smoke all this stuff? Do you like barbecue?" I'm like, "Oh, I love barbecue." He said, "Why don't you do barbecue? Come see me." And I went out to see him. And I mean, this is, God, over 15 years ago now. Probably closer to 20 years ago. But like Mike really kind of took me under his wing and introduced me to so many people. And the first time I ever went to Memphis in May was with Mike. And Amy, so it's a tremendous community. And I mean, if the show makes it 5 years, I hope that we could get more people that we feature into the BBQ Hall of Fame. I don't worry about myself. I've done just fine in my world, and I'm happy where I am. And but there's a lot of people that aren't in it yet that I would love to see in it, and I feel rightfully deserve to be in it for the years and years of dedication they put into the barbecue world and their craft.
Do you have a favorite barbecue book?
I like mine a lot.
Yes.
I think
Of course.
I think the Meathead book is great. I think especially for people that want to get into barbecue and maybe aren't as far along, I think Meathead does a very good job explaining things and teaching people, how to get started and how to go from there.
We're going to do something at the end here that has nothing to do with barbecue or grilling. It's 3 questions about Cleveland sports, because I said we're Cleveland guys. First question, and boy, has it changed in the last 48 hours. Do the Guardians make the playoffs this year, yes or no?
They're losing to the Astros again tonight, aren't they? I think they are, last time I looked. You know what? I'm going to say yes, because I still think – how many games are left, Greg? How many games are left?
It's got to be 50 or less, I think, right?
Yeah, I still think that Tito is the best second-half coach in baseball. So I'm going to say that they're going to push through, win the division, and make it. They have to win the division.
But no pitching, Michael. No pitching.
I know, but he's a wizard. He's the best manager of all time. I mean, we have incredible management and an incredible manager, and they'll find a way.
Question 2. This is always the lightning rod of Cleveland sports. Do the Cleveland Browns make the playoffs this year, yes or no?
Oh, God. I have to tell you, for last year was the first year in my life that I watched one half. Now, I've been a season ticket holder since I've been with my family and then myself and whatever, since I was a kid. Still am. I watched one half of football last year. I got, I don't know what happened. The Baker thing really screwed with me. The kid brought us to the playoffs. We beat Pittsburgh, and then he's gone. It just, it hurt me inside a little bit. Like, he felt like a Cleveland kid, even though he was from Texas. But this year I'm going to be back in. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say they are going to make, if they don't make the playoffs this year, there's going to be a shakedown. I mean, it'll be coaching if they don't make it. They certainly have the talent.
Last question. The Cleveland Cavaliers make it to the second round of the playoffs this coming season, yes or no?
I am going to go out on a limb. I'm a huge basketball fan too.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go out on a limb here. And I think that they'll do something. I think that there'll be a trade somewhere. But I think that the Cleveland Cavaliers this year will make the NBA Finals.
Wow, from your lips to God's ears, Michael. I mean, we need that back.
I think they are the best young team, and they're the best young team in basketball. And they are a veteran banger away, I feel. If they get a veteran presence that is an enforcer a little bit. I'm not saying like old school,
not Rick Mahorn,
Detroit bad boys, Rick Mahorn, Mahorn and Lambier killing people in the middle. But like kind of give me, I mean, he's too old now, but a Cleveland boy also. Give me a Charles Oakley kind of guy that eats glass and just punishes people on the inside and, takes care when Garland and Spider are getting roughed up, taking the lane, they know not to go back in the lane because we got a guy that's going to put them on their ass. I think we're a player away.
Aside from watching BBQ USA, anything else you want to talk about or promote here before I let you go?
Yeah, I mean, Simon's Dinners just wrapped up season 5. We're getting ready to film season 6 in a couple weeks, which is always exciting. And my new cookbook, Simply Simon's Suppers, our 10th cookbook, which is it's 52 weeks of recipes, basically like based around 52 dinners, full dinners, like 3-course dinners a week. It's 175 recipes and some cocktails. That comes out September 12th. It's the biggest book I've done. Super excited about it. Some of the recipes are from Simon's Dinners. Some of the ones are just, we have Sunday supper at my house pretty much every week. So it's basically, I mean, you could certainly make the recipes any day of the week, but it's 52 of the Sunday suppers that we had at our house.
2 quick questions. I apologize. I lied before. 250,000 copies. Is that a lot for a book to sell? Talking about
That's
books.
a lot.
That's a lot?
Yeah.
Question number 2.
Number.
Doug Trattner, not only Cleveland legend, but national treasure. Yes or no?
Absolutely. Yes. And my co-author. I love Trattner. Hey, look, anybody, like, here's what I love about Trattner, and I don't want to take up someone else's time, but anybody that was a lawyer, says, screw it, I don't want to be a lawyer, then starts reviewing restaurants and then writing cookbooks and then turns his front yard into a garden, then buys an RV and travels the country. I want to party with that guy.
Don't forget about the backyard he turned into a chicken coop.
Oh, chicken coop, the bees, the whole thing. I'm like, dude, they're going to throw you out of the heights. Yeah, you are going to be out of the heights in no time.
Unbelievable. All right, well, this is the host of BBQ USA, amongst other shows and book writings and all that. It's our pal, Michael Symon. Michael, appreciate the time tonight. Thanks so much for doing it.
Thanks for having me.
You got it. Michael Symon right there. Appreciating the time, talking about BBQ USA. So if you are down with watching barbecue on television, that's the show you should be watching. I didn't even get to asking him about Barbecue Brawl because we went out of time, but that's all right. Maybe next time. Maybe in season 3. Sounds like if you're watching, there could be a season 3. Just launch my shoe. Darren Warth is ready to rock and roll. Before we get to him, I'll talk to you quickly about Primo Grills. What do we love about ceramic cookers? We love that they're fuel efficient. We love that they can achieve low and slow temperatures for traditional barbecue meats. However, they can also get rip-roaring hot for the high-temperature grilling of steaks and other thin cuts. But what's missing in the everyday ceramic grill lineup? The ability to do true two-zone cooking. Two-zone cooking is important to both professional and backyard cooks alike. It's the best way to manage a fire and cook with confidence. However, getting a two-zone fire in a round ceramic cooker, not very realistic. Why? Because it's round. Enter Primo Grill, the game-changing oval design. This shape gives you the ability to execute that two-zone that you set up or desire, and it also gives you the other ceramic grill benefits as well. When you break it down, 60 different ways to cook on the Primo. You find them at a dealer near you. Go to the website, primogrill.com. That's primogrill.com. Find the dealer, and then check out all the sizes of ovals. If I might make a suggestion, the XL. Look, what do we all know about when you buy any type of barbecue pit? You get there, you're feeling really macho, you start looking at pricing, you bitch down, and you buy a little light. Then you get it home, and you're like, curses! I should have bought the 36-inch. I should have bought the XL. Don't make the mistake. When you go to the Primo dealer, get the Primo XL. Trust me on this. You'll thank me later. primogrill.com and all the accessories as well. Complete that Primo Grill cooking experience. We're back with Darren Warth right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the Barbecue Central Show.
All right, welcome back. We'll save that for later. We got Darren on the line. We thank Michael Symon, by the way, for joining us last segment, spending a little time with us. My next guest, a very successful barbecue restaurant owner, a 2023 BBQ HAll of Fame inductee. Recently started a podcast, but most of you know him from his years and years, decades of winning on the competition circuit. Let's welcome back the pitmaster of Iowa's Smokey D's, Darren Warth. Hey, Darren, appreciate you hanging with me here as we had a little extended time with the Iron Chef. But let's start with this, the YouTube poll question of the week. And I'm asking everybody this tonight, Darren. As it relates to meat, you know exactly what I'm talking about when I say the term Thor's hammer.
Yes.
All right. 68% of us are saying, yes, we do know the term Thor's hammer. 32% are saying, no, that's a little high, especially if you're on social media. That seems to be... Are you seeing that on social media as a trend of sorts?
Yeah. Maybe a month ago. I haven't seen it much lately.
You make a lot of Thor's hammer in Iowa?
I make zero.
Zero Thor's hammer.
Thor's hammer.
Between the two, Darren, which is the bigger waste? Tomahawk steak or Thor's hammer? You have the definitive answer.
Well, I think it's the tomahawk. Much more bone in the tomahawk than the Thor's hammer.
That's right. You watching barbecue television shows that are running right now?
No, I don't watch.
No?
You know, I made a decision a few years ago to watch zero TV at all.
Really?
I watched zero TV.
You didn't even watch Ozarks?
Well, so I watch like Netflix and stuff when I'm traveling on a plane.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, I used to listen to the news and I used to, try and, watch Fox News and CNN and MSNBC and all this. And it's just like, you just find yourself being depressed.
Yeah.
And so I found that if I just cut it all out, and I never see a commercial, I never see anything, it's just amazing. Probably not what Michael wanted to hear. I have yet to see one of his shows.
Well, I mean, in full honesty, as I said last week, I hadn't watched one BBQ USA. Now, the timing for me just hadn't matched up, so I've done a binge watch over the last 36 hours or so. But that's way different than Barbecue Brawl, which I have zero interest in watching whatsoever. So I want to watch BBQ USA. I don't want to watch Barbecue Brawl, and I'm not watching Barbecue Brawl. In regards to the TV stuff, though, have you thought about, trying to get on any of these recent versions, whether it's on Netflix or these Food Network shows, or you could care less?
No, I've just always turned that stuff down. I mean, even from year one of Pitmasters, they called me every single year. And I'm like, no, I'm just not into scripted TV. And I'm not sure it's all that way now, but I'm just not, I just want to do my thing. I love competition barbecue. I love the restaurant business, but I really don't need to have a camera in my face. I mean, our exposure, when we were on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives back in 2013, you can't get any more exposure than that when it comes to the restaurant business. And it just replays and it replays and it replays. So I've just never had really, it's kind of like teaching barbecue classes. It's just not my thing. Plus I got the face for radio.
Well,
that's why I hope most people are listening to this rather than watching.
Both of us are suffering from the same affliction. Earlier in the year, the BBQ HAll of Fame and the Barbecue Central Show put out the exclusive final 9 finalist list for the BBQ HAll of Fame, and then a couple weeks later, we tell you who's getting into the BBQ HAll of Fame. And of the 4, a Darren Warth, who was on that finals list 2 times or 3 times.
Third time's the charm.
Yeah, before you make it over the threshold there. Let's talk about the BBQ HAll of Fame for a second. For a guy who is saying no to TV opportunities, A guy who on this show has said on multiple occasions, it's about the trophies and the checks will follow. You know, it's kind of antithetical to what a lot of other teams and people who hope to be famous are chasing. So what does the BBQ Hall of Fame mean to you getting into it?
You know, first of all, you know, I still say I'm not old enough. Okay. You know, I've said that for years. I'm like, why do you want me in the barbecue? Everybody's like, you need to be in the BBQ Hall of Fame. I'm like, I'm not old enough.
But Chris Lilly has been in for like 5 years already. So, I mean,
oh yeah, well,
you're not that much
he's
younger
done,
or older than him, right?
He's done all the TV stuff. He's done all the proper things. He's probably got, I mean, Chris has a publicist. I don't even know what that is. Do they cost money?
Yeah,
I sometimes ask.
Thousands of dollars a month. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, yeah. So, you know, they're out there promoting, and I'm more of an organic guy. I just want my, you know, the following. I want everything I do to come organically. I don't need to push anything on anybody. You know, I just want it to be organic. That's very important to me.
But sometimes doing it that way don't lend accolades that maybe you secretly want. Maybe you have to get outside of your comfort zone and hire a publicist for 6 months or a year, or do some things that might make you feel weird inside in order to attain a ultimate goal.
Yeah, but I mean, I guess the BBQ Hall of Fame really wasn't an ultimate goal of mine. You know, so I mean, my ultimate goal is waking up on the right side of the dirt every day, right? You know, I live every day like it's last. I really, you know, if I have one goal, I want to win the American Row for the 4th time. You know, that's my one goal in barbecue. But other than that, I am just along for the ride.
You've won the American Royal. Forget that. Why not dig in?
3 times.
And I'm talking
3 times.
But, yes, but you've won it many times. Too many times. Why not dig in? You and Jerry say,
no, not too many times.
Never
Greg.
too many.
Never too many.
That's right. Not enough times. So we hope you do it for the 4th time. But why not dig in and win Memphis in May, and then you can safely say you've won all the biggest ones ever.
I've been there, done that. Okay, we did that. We went down there with that going to win.
Yeah.
And I've told this story many times. And so I went down to Memphis in May. I assembled the teams, and I was going to cook ribs. You know why? Because ribs hadn't won in 17 years. And I'm like, ribs are due. And I've been on the Houston livestock stage, on Houston, on the Royal multiple times with ribs. And I wanted to, and I've won ribs and I've won the overall. And I've won a lot of categories, but ribs I had won and all. And that's the one I wanted. So that's why it would have been easier to pick whole hog and get a ringer in there to help me cook whole hog and tell a BS story and stuff. But that wasn't me. So I'm like, we're going to cook ribs, and we're going to cook the best damn ribs we can. And as I'm sitting, we get done, and we didn't make finals. And I'm sitting with Pete Cookston, Melissa's husband. And he watches the finals judges go by, and he goes, well, we think either Tuffy or Chris are going to win today. And I said, well, what are you talking about? He goes, see that judge over there? They're going to pick whole hog every time. See this judge over there on the back of that golf cart? They're going to pick shoulder. See that judge? They're going to pick ribs unless there's not a celebrity in there. And then they're going to pick that and going through. And he's just picking this down. And I'm like, it just spoiled it. And it's like TV. It's like scripted TV, right?
I'm going to put a bullet in that conspiracy theory here, because Brad and Tim went down there 2 years ago, and I think had the biggest coup in competition history. Went down with huge cans, did whole hog in a can, and won. Yeah. And then won shoulder the year before, and I think reserved in ribs the year before that. Standard, not I'm saying standard, but like your prototypical KCBS guys, you know, team of the year contenders each and every year. Obviously, Brad has won it multiple times. I thought that was a shakeup, and then that might have been the time to go in, right?
That was pretty impressive. I mean, I'll tell you, because that's the first time in how many years a celebrity hasn't won Memphis in May. Go back and look, somebody. Everybody that's won Memphis in May over the years has done their TV time. Right? Whether it's the Shed, whether it's Melissa, whether it's, they're all great cooks, and they all, but they've done their TV time. They are celebrities, right? I'm not a celebrity. Okay. I'm just a barbecue guy. I'm a barbecue guy out having fun, and trying to spread the word.
In episode
I'm just
6,
not wired that way.
in episode 6 of your podcast, you talk about getting into the BBQ Hall of Fame and mentioning also you're talking about, and I'm paraphrasing here, continuing to remain relevant in competition barbecue. Have you been able to navigate through that part of it? Do you think that you will always be relevant?
Well, I mean, if I'm not going to be relevant, I'm going to be out. But I mean, we're on a pretty good streak here. I feel like I'm relevant. I'm the last 4 or 5 contests, we got two wins and top 5 every time, and it's one of those things, but I went back to simplistic. Okay. And I mean, I just like to try stupid crap. So, I mean, I am cooking. Okay. And this is no joke, on all 4 meats, chicken, ribs, pork, and brisket. I'm using 2 rubs and 2 sauces. The same 2 on all 4 meats across all categories.
All rubs and sauces are the same across all meats?
Exactly.
Really?
2 rubs. I swear to God.
What rubs
2 rubs,
are they?
2 sauces. Smoking Guns Hot and Cimarron Ducks. Sorry, Sterling, if you're listening.
Those
Greg,
rubs were winning in 1748 when barbecue started.
And you want to know why I'm
yes,
using
because
them?
it's a tenderness game before the rub game.
Well, two things. It's a tenderness game, and I 100% believe that.
I learned
but
it
take any barbecue rub that's been developed. I won't take anyone, but take the majority of barbecue rubs that have been developed in the last 10 years are copycats of Smoking Guns Hot and Cimarron Ducks. Those were that and Head Country.
Yeah.
Were like the trinity, the holy trinity of barbecue rubs, right?
Wow.
So as somebody has a new rub, hey, that tastes like Cimarron Ducks and Smoking Guns Hot. Hey, that tastes like Cimarron Ducks and Smoke. I mean, and they're different, but they're the same. So I set out on this mission 5 contests ago, and I'm just doing it. I'm cross the board. I'm changing my whole program. And I've hit top 5 every time. I've had more first place finishes in the last top 5 contests than I've had in the last 2 years. And so it doesn't matter because, and you're right, it is a tenderness game. It is 100% a tenderness game because do you think I was thinking about this weekend as I was putting them on my brisket, and I'm going, do you think you can even taste this rub? Right? I mean, we're going to inject it full of impurities. And that's my next plan.
You're going to uninjection?
No, but I'm going to go to 1.
Oh,
I haven't figured out what that is, but I'm going back to simplistic, and really what I'm trying to do is teach the younger teams out here, and I love spreading the word to younger teams, and that's kind of part of the reason for my podcast is I'm trying to say, don't overthink this game. Don't overthink it. Just don't worry about collecting 15 million rubs and layering it 7 different times. I mean, it's like somebody says, "Oh yeah, I put Smoking Guns Hot and then I put Sweet Money and I take Black Label and White Label and da 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 da." I'm like, really? Do you know what that is? Boil that all apart, all the ingredients, and we're back to Smoking Guns Hot and Cimarron Ducks.
Yeah.
Therefore, that's what I've done.
When Michael Symon was on last segment, he thought that at some point in the future that creativity would be rewarded once again in the competition circuit. Do you think that's going to happen, or you still think, are we caught in a vanilla profile?
I would love to see that. I really would love to see that. I mean, I was just on the internet. My phone was blowing up because there's a lot of, we're back to the old judging issues.
Yeah.
Out on Facebook, and I'm going, guys, chill out. It's bigger. It's bigger than how many tables, and it's bigger than judges. You're not going to fix it until you radically change the system.
Yeah, for sure.
Right?
Yep.
You're never going to change it.
Yep.
And so when you change the system, let's bring creativity back into it. Let's see who's the best cook, not who can make the best pillows for chicken, not that who can have the biggest money muscle in pork, not who can have the thickest slice of Wagyu brisket, right? And it's crazy. And so sometimes in my move, and I really don't want to share it, but I will, because I'm a sharing guy, is I like to make things a little messy because I think sometimes these judges out there seem to think that, oh, there's a picture perfect box. Ah, that must be Smokey D's. That some bitch has won a lot. I think it's time to let somebody else. But if I can make my
Oh.
boxes look a little messy and look kind of like a backyard cook,
Mm.
but then they're like, I'll take and they give me a 7 in appearance, and then they taste it, and the tenderness is great, and the taste is great, and they're going, wow, this is great. I can't believe this backyard guy did this. I will take 7.99s in KCBS every single day in every category, and I will beat everybody every day. But we're so worried about making this the most picture perfect box. Why? I mean, I spend 5 minutes making a box. I don't care. I mean, I turned in chicken. I've got first place chicken 2 weeks in a row. I got first place chicken here 2 weeks ago, and I had the skins were all blown out on the top of the chicken. And I looked at Sharon, I'm like, oh, haven't ever had this happen before. What do we do here? And she goes, just turn it in. Just pretend it's a backyard cook. Okay. So we turned it in and we win chicken.
Wow.
It's the ugliest chicken I've ever turned in. But maybe I'm onto something.
Yeah.
Spend a lot less time trying to make it perfect and spend a lot more time cooking it perfect.
If you could unilaterally put one person into the BBQ Hall of Fame right now, who would it be?
Dave Stamper.
Yeah.
Have you heard of Dave Stamper?
Yeah, of course.
Dave Stamper, and most people haven't. But Dave Stamper out of Indiana, Dave Stamper taught more people how to barbecue than anybody in this country, in my opinion. I mean, he was a mentor of all mentors, and he passed away a couple of years ago, but, he was just an old boy in overalls. And Dave he took a lot of teams underneath his wings. He just he had an answer for everybody. If you had a problem with something, just call Dave. Oh, Dave will handle it. And he's kind of one of my idols when it comes to barbecue. And it's just crazy. But I mean, it's one of those unsung heroes.
Many consider you to be the greatest competition barbecuer of all time in social posts. People refer to you as the GOAT. How do you feel about that?
It's fine. It's kind of grown on me a little bit. I'm like, what are you guys talking about? I'm just out here having fun. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, we've won more than probably anybody, and I always challenge Myron every time I see him. I said, you sure you don't want to do a recount about being the winningest man at barbecue? But back to, marketing. He's done a great job of marketing there, and we've just been pounding it out. So I don't have all these distractions. I don't have a TV camera in my face. I just cook barbecue. I just love to cook barbecue. I love the sport. I just love the ambiance. I love everything about it.
You're 14 episodes into a podcast called Cue the Mic. Why start a barbecue podcast?
Why?
Yeah.
Well, so my I call her my social media gal, my digital marketing manager, Emma, who's on the podcast with me. Mm-hmm. She wanted content. Darren, we need more content. Anytime we put your face in a post or anything, it does really well from a social media. And she wanted me to start a YouTube channel. And I started watching some YouTube, because I don't watch YouTube, but I started watching some YouTube barbecue, and I'm like, it was just overdone because everybody does the same thing. If you've seen one barbecue shotgun shell, you've seen them all.
Or Thor's hammer.
I can't. Or Thor's hammer now. Or now a lot of Blackstone stuff. We talked about that yesterday.
Yep.
But all that stuff is going on, and I'm like, this just isn't me. First, I don't have the time. And she's like, well, let's do a podcast. And I'm like, can I do it anywhere? And she's like, yeah. So, I put my mic in my backpack, I put a little camera, and we're going to do a podcast, whether I'm in Florida, whatever, and it's went relatively well. And it's kind of, content's hard, right? And I wish people would come on and say, hey, talk about this. But yeah. I'm just trying to go through kind of not only competition barbecue, I spend little time on that, and about what I like and things like that. But mainly it's about teaching people that are wanting to take that step out of competition barbecue, maybe to start a catering business, maybe to start a restaurant business, and be real with them. right? And just teach them the trials and tribulation of what it takes and how you have to scale. And no, you're not going to live on a yacht if you open a 50-seat barbecue restaurant, right? It's just not going to happen. And I just try and be a realist with them. And you know, it's fun to do. Em always says, you know, we have to listen to your stories all day long. It's about time the world had to listen to them too. But content's tough. It's really tough. I wish I had a publicist or something to tell me what to say, but we unscript everything. We just show up. We just say, hey, I think about it tonight. Like I need to shoot tomorrow. Don't have a clue. I mean, I think I might talk about what I would do differently if I were to start over again and what I wouldn't do. But it's one of those things that I'm just an impulse guy, and I think it makes more sense instead of just asking questions and being scripted. I think it's better just to talk from your heart and just talk about whatever. And sometimes we're interesting and sometimes we're boring as hell. Right?
Well, from an engineering or a production standpoint, what's been the biggest learning curve for you?
Well, yeah, I mean, you helped me out with the mic. I mean, she's trained in the video editing and all that stuff. So I don't have to do anything with that. All I have to do is hook up that camera and this mic to my computer and sit down and try not to have a shiny head on my, you know, a shiny glow on my head. And normally it's sitting at my kitchen counter. Sometimes it's in my wife's office because I don't have an office. And, you know, sometimes it's sitting by the pool in Florida. And it's just one of those things that, I mean, I'd like to have a podcast room to be able to do it at, where I could maybe have something behind me instead of my fireplace and TV, my beautiful,
very nice
84-inch TV that never gets turned on.
Yeah.
Unless Griffin comes by to watch the Disney Channel.
What's been the most rewarding part of doing it? I mean, you're only 14 in, but there's had to have been some pinnacle moments already.
I just think it's the sharing part. I think it's going out on the competition circuit and people saying, every weekend I go out there and people say, hey, I listened to your podcast and that was great. What you said about this or what you said about this, and the teaching moment. And I had one cook last weekend who's a big YouTuber and come out and he goes, I had my notebook out writing down notes, you know, and I'm like, that's really what I want, because to me, it's all about sharing, right? And, you know, I've done it all. I have nothing else to do. And that doesn't mean everybody just call me up tomorrow and say, hey, what are you using for injection, whatever. But I love to share. If I find something successful that works for me, I can't wait to share it with somebody else.
You can get the podcast wherever podcasts are gotten. You just search for Cue the Mic, and there's Darren Warth and his co-host, Emily is her name?
Emma,
sorry. Yep.
Yeah.
Competition-wise, got anything lined up here over the next couple of weeks that you're going to be taking part in?
You know, heading down to Kansas, we figured we'd sweat it out at the KCBS Invitational in Mayetta, Kansas.
Oh, yeah.
It'll probably be 125 degrees, but that's okay. That's what it was last weekend in Emmitsburg. But we're doing there. We're kind of the every third week competition team now. So we'll do that. And then we got a couple weeks, and then we're heading up to Door County, up to Washington Island, to one of our favorite contests of the year. You know, it's just beautiful. I mean, I hope we can get more people to sign up. I think they're at 24, 25 teams. That should be a 100-team contest. It's just absolutely gorgeous. It's just a walk back in time. It's just an amazing time every year. And plus, we've won it 2 or 3 times, so it always makes it fun.
Darren Warth from Iowa Smokey D's joining us here on the show, the host of Cue the Mic. Darren, always appreciate the time and continued success. Thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me.
You got it. Darren Warth right there. The website, by the way, SmokeyD'sBBQ.com, and then you can link over to all the social media portions and channels from there. So we thank Darren for joining us. I'm a little late, so we're going to have to play clock catch-up. We're into the second hour here. We'll leave that for now. We can play catch-up pretty quick here. All right, stand by. We'll wrap the first hour right after this. Stick around.
Continuing to produce incredibly mediocre content in an exceptionally professional way. You're listening and watching the BBQ Central Show. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rampey.
And we thank Darren Warth for joining us last segment. SmokeyD'sBBQ.com, the website. You can follow them on social media channels as well. As I had mentioned just before, go to the website and link over to all those social media channels. Follow, and of course, subscribe to the new podcast, Cue the Mic. You got 14 that you can go ahead and catch up on as you're driving to work or 2 or 3 hour family trips, whatever you have going there. I'm sure he'll certainly appreciate the fact that you are subscribing to the new one. And again, especially if you're into competition barbecue or you just want to hear about running a business, Darren obviously very successful in both of those with Smokey D's Restaurant, and then of course the prolific winning on KCBS competition circuit, as well as some of the other major sanctioning bodies as well. That's the first hour. We'll go ahead and close it up here and then hit an abridged top of the second. You're listening and watching the Barbecue Central show right here on the Barbecue Central Network. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Happy to have you aboard here for the really big barbecue show.
We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me.
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle. Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude.
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 54 wieners.
Oh, listen, Liberty, it's a shake feast.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seed.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
And just like that, we are into the second hour. It's the Barbecue Central show where we talk about all of the Barbecue Central show fun and frivolity, hot topics that are going across the internet this week or last week or from a month ago if they're that pertinent to the news cycle of live fire. We're going to cover it here on this show. Barbecue Central show coming to you live and direct from
Palm City, USA, Cleveland.
Still to come on the show this evening, Sam the Cooking Guy in a few minutes, and then Brandon Bresner and Ryan Hooglin close it out talking about the first ever Blackstone Griddle competition that was held on July 15th in Eureka, Illinois. We say good evening to those of you watching this show tonight through one of the video streaming platforms. You can go to Facebook or Twitch /BBQ Central Show. You can also watch on YouTube, which is youtube.com/@BBQ Central Show. We'll go ahead and update you on the YouTube poll question of the week, which is this. As it relates to meat, you know exactly what I'm talking about when I use the term Thor's hammer. 69% of you are saying yes. You absolutely know what I'm talking about. 31% of you are saying no, you don't know what I'm talking about when I use the term Thor's hammer. Put it in an Instagram search or go on YouTube, search Thor's hammer, or go to Bearded Butcher's YouTube channel and search through their archives. I saw it there most recently getting cut out of whatever the primal or subprimal is, and then they worked it down into a Thor's hammer. However, Michael Symon, was it Michael Symon? It was Darren Warth that said the bigger waste of money is the tomahawk steak, if you're comparing tomahawk steak and Thor's hammer. So we'll keep you updated on the poll as the rest of the show wears on, and I, again, will try to promise you a final update as the show draws to a close. Coming up on the best moments of the Barbecue Central show in 10 minutes or less this Friday, episode 293, taking you back to August 7th, 2012. Who do we have? Well, we have somebody by the name of Bob Roberts from Two Old Men in the Grill. We have Dennis Keck from Four Smokin' Butts, who was also a jeweler, and Dan McGrath from Three Eyes Barbecue. One of the things I noticed in this segment back in 2012, do you know what the most popular cooker on the competition scene was at that time? Cabinet-style cookers. That's right, very popular. Every panel member that was on the show using some type of cabinet cooker at that point. There were additional brands mentioned. However, There were brands like Spice Wine mentioned, Rebel, Stumps cookers. Now, many things have changed over the last 11 years as it relates to cookers that are en vogue and not en vogue. Some of the names mentioned are no longer in business, but they were pretty significant brands back in the day. Stumps is still in business, so is Backwoods. That was another brand mentioned. And I wanted a Stumps and a Backwoods, like in the worst way possible within that time frame back in the day, but never pulled the trigger. But actually many of the top teams were using those styles of cookers back in the day, and they were winning with them, which of course breeds more people wanting to do different and better barbecue. So they go buy the upright cooker or the gravity-fed cooker that the person winning has, and they follow their flavor profiles and cooking methods. They take their cooking classes, things like this. All that stuff we talked about with Darren last segment. So that's what you will get to hear. Those three, and they go in depth. Those were the three elite competition chicken cooks in KCBS back in 2012. So if you want to see how they were doing it back then, check out the show this coming Friday, and you do have to be subscribed to the podcast feed in order to get the Best Moments show. And don't forget, if you want to hear a guest or segment again that might be lost in the archives, you email John, Jon, at thebbqcentralshow.com. Let them know what you would like to hear. Before we get to Sam the Cooking Guy, I will remind you that the famous Dave's All-Star Barbecue Series was in Sioux City, Iowa this past weekend, and winning it was Ironhead Barbecue. Coming in second, or reserve grand, Patty's Pit Stop Barbecue. The next famous Dave's All-Star Barbecue Series event is happening this coming Saturday, August 5th, if you can believe it, in Colorado Springs, Colorado. For more information or to see results from the past events, you go to famousdaves.com/All-Star BBQ Series. Let's go ahead and get ready for Sam the Cooking Guy. I'll talk to you quickly about Big Papa Smokers, the one-stop online shop for all things barbecue. A curated selection of only the best outdoor cooking and grilling supplies. Whether you're a backyard fanatic or a competition pro, Big Papa Smokers has something for you. 13 perfectly balanced flavors of rubs and seasonings. Popular flavors like Sweet Money, Cattle Prod, Cash Cow, all proven winners on the competition circuit. They own Granny's barbecue sauce as well, so why not try out a brand new sauce? Maybe you're disenchanted what's currently available in your grocery store. If you tried everything online and you want something new, there you go. Granny's barbecue sauce. Now, they also sell cookers, so if you're looking for a versatile smoker that's easy to use, check out that Mac 2-Star General Pellet Cooker. Big Papa Smokers, the exclusive Mac dealer, even offering special packages. If you're not a fan of pellet smokers or you don't know which one you need, please call 877-828-0727. That's 877-828-0727, or shop their website at bigpapasmokers.com. That's BIGPOPPA smokers.com. And we'll be back with Sam the Cooking Guy right after this. Stick around, be right back.
You're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the BBQ Central Show.
And this portion being brought to you by Pit Barrel Cooker, the most unbelievable outdoor cooking device on the planet. Currently available in 3 sizes with a host of accessories. Doesn't matter if you're a beginner or professional, it's a cooker you want to add to the arsenal. Visit pitbarrelcooker.com and tell them the BBQ Central Show sent you. Alternatively, if you were a little bit more on the edge, a little bit more feisty, like the Badger, you might want to check out badgerbarrel.com. $250 shipped to your door, and you can hang stuff and all that good cooking nonsense as you would in the Pit Barrel, but for a little bit less of a price, and in between the junior and the flagship size. So you pick pitbarrelcooker.com or badgerbarrel.com and let me know which one you think is best. All right, it's that time of the month where we welcome in your favorite YouTube cooking personality, cookbook author, TV host. He's also a BBQ Central Show's guest Hall of Famer. We do welcome back Sam the Cooking Guy. And we have a YouTube poll question of the week, which we need to get to immediately. And I'm asking everybody this, Sam. As it relates to meat, you know exactly what I'm talking about when I say Thor's hammer, yes or no?
Yes. Yes.
Is that mic on?
Yes.
Wow. It's hot.
Am I just not close enough to it? Oh, wait, hold on.
You're fine.
How's that?
I can dial it back on my end. Don't worry about it.
Wait, too much or too little? What do you mean dial it back?
I can take some of the heat.
You're saying was it
off the mic.
You're saying was it wait.
You're loud.
You're asking if oh my god. How's this? Is this better?
No. Stay up on it and I can control it from my end. Don't worry about it. Very easy to do.
God.
Yeah.
Never had this problem before.
Oh, you know, the internet.
God, you really the only difference is I've got it off the arm.
Yeah, well, that's not going to make any difference. Yeah.
No, I know. That's my point. All right. Everything's the same. I don't know why.
Don't worry about it.
I do have it closer when I have it on the arm, but you don't want that, so I'll keep it right here.
All right, stay right there, and then I can make my adjustments as necessary.
Adjust away, my friend. Adjust away.
Now that we are a month away from it, and since you had asked about it on the July 4th
Meathead's
show,
book coming out,
were all of your questions answered as it relates to Meathead's current book writing scenario?
I mean, yeah, sure.
Are there still questions left on?
I don't get. Look, I like Meathead. I'm a Meathead fan.
Yes.
I just don't. What doesn't compute in my head is, look, I only know my book deals.
Yeah.
It goes like this. Would you like to write a book? Yes. What would the book be? I go to be this. They go, great. Give us a proposal. We give them the proposal. They go, we like it. They make us an offer, and along with the offer comes a series of requirements. You have to turn the book in this size, this many recipes, this many photos on this date, and then all the other subsequent things that follow along with that. So if they've contracted for X, and at the 11th hour I said, I got an idea. Let's go X plus 1. What do you think about that? I think they would say to me, yeah, that's cute, but we're the publisher and we've already given you money and we want what we want. I don't know. It's in limbo now. Seems to me. Are we getting the full story from the Meathead? Are we? That's the question.
Believe me, I think if it's one thing I know over the almost 2 decades of knowing Meathead, he's not one to sandbag information. He's going to let it all out there. And I think we are getting up-to-the-minute updates. And whether this particular situation seems a bit murky at the moment, and maybe it's just murky for him.
Look, at the very least, it's great fodder for the show.
Oh, tremendous fodder.
It's fun stuff to talk about.
I want to ask your opinion on something. I was toying with the potential rebrand of the show, and I want to ask everybody here that's listening as well to weigh in on this. The show is called The BBQ Central Show. It's been called The BBQ Central Show for any number of years. Had to switch it because I was getting threatened a lawsuit from what would have been a much better name than BBQ Central, the BBQ for You show. However, we had to get rid of that one. So,
by the way,
yes.
Barbecue Central's much better.
Yes, a barbecue for you. Sorry.
What was
Luckily, that guy showed up.
And it was the number 4 too, right?
BBQ dash the numeral 4 dash the letter U show. So that would have been much better.
My.
Yes, oh my. So I have been toying recently with a total rebrand. So I have BBQ Central Show trademarked, right?
Go ahead. Wait, before you go on.
Yeah.
Is this real or is this BS?
I want your opinion. This is real thought going on right now. There's no definitive action that's being taken at the moment.
I understand that.
But I'm using you as a sounding board and the rest of the Centralites that are watching. So I keep BBQ Central Show, let's say, as the parent company. Okay?
Go ahead.
And I rebrand this event.
Yes.
Ready for this?
Yeah.
The Smoke Show. What do you think? Like it?
I do. My first reaction is I don't hate it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't hate it. The Smoke Show. But
So,
why?
here's what
why are we
happens.
rebranding? Are you
I
getting
don't-
sued again?
I don't know. No. I can't get sued. I own the trademark for Barbecue Central,
Okay,
so
that's
I'm
right.
totally legally clear. But I found myself thinking maybe Barbecue Central, the name, isn't really that cool. Or could there be a cooler name for this show than Barbecue Central? And then I started thinking somehow the Smoke Show. I don't even know where I came up with the Smoke Show. Well, I mean, it's a play on words, right? Smoking show. It's a show,
Oh, I
smoke
get
show.
it. Yeah. So wait, what's the?
See, look at this. I'm going to show you something right here on the screen.
No, I think people. Yeah.
My kids just said this last night. No, Smoke Show sounds like you're rating women. I'm not. I didn't even know that. So you would say like, oh, Kelly, yeah, she's a smoke show. Like she's hot, you know.
I don't think it's necessary.
And
you might subtitle it Barbecue Central. Welcome to the Barbecue Central Show, the Big Smoke Show, or something.
AKA the
But I
Smoke
don't
Show.
think changing it. I mean, look, for years, I was sorry that I was Sam the cooking guy.
Yeah.
It was stupid. It was a long, dumb name. Why couldn't I just have been my name? Why wasn't I just Sam Zion? I thought that would have been better. And at some point, I went, no, it is what it is. That's the name. And people identify with it and they know what it is. It says what it is. The Barbecue Central Show means you're talking about barbecue.
Yeah.
The Smoke Show could be anything. Could be cigars.
Yeah.
Could be a firefighter talk, late at night when they get off of a shift. No, it's a terrible idea, Now stop it.
All right.
Stick with what you've got at work.
Good news. All the women in the house shat on it very quickly. And after further consideration, you also shat on it. So that's going to be it. I even had Suzanne Moskowitz lined up as the potential search for trademark on the Smoke Show. And she's like, I could, but you're dumb for doing it. So maybe you want to get on the show tonight and start asking around about it before you just start giving me money willingly.
Yep. By the way, Suzanne Moskowitz is my new trademark attorney.
Yes. All right.
I love her. Love her. She's sensible. She's got great advice. All from this little smoke show.
That's right.
Palm City, USA.
Hey, that guy.
Yeah.
One thing he says has always bothered me.
Oh yeah, I know.
No one I know in the country.
I know what it is.
Says the Mountain Rushmore.
Yeah, but you know the story.
No, I don't want that story. I want it right. Can't he just
But
change
no,
it?
I can't do that now, and I'm going to have to tell you why.
One word.
So the problem is this. I found David Lee, that's the imager who does he's the really big voice guy for the show. And we were writing out the new liners, the rejoins to come in from the show. And here's what I learned. You contract the country's top professional in voiceovers. Do you know what he does? He gets paid to read. He doesn't get paid to think about anything. He doesn't get paid to go, does he want me to say that or this? He gets paid to read what's on the fucking paper. So when I heard it come back the first time,
was it MTN?
Can I talk?
God, just
1 minute.
It was on the paper.
People complain
Yes, go
about
ahead.
talking
1
all
minute.
the time here.
That sounds so familiar.
Yes.
Go ahead.
So I said, why did he say Mountain Rushmore? Nobody says that. That's outrageous. So I immediately pulled up the email. I pulled up the copy. And wouldn't you know it, big dummy me put Mountain. I wrote it out. I have no idea why I wrote it.
So you can change it.
Yes, but now I was like, wait, you're a dummy. He wrote exactly what you said. Now you got to keep it because you have a story. And it puts me to the side a little bit. Mountain Rushmore.
Every time I hear it, I'm like, fuck, I wish the guy would say Mount Rushmore.
No, it's Mountain Rushmore. And technically, it's Mountain Rushmore. MT.
Nobody says that.
I know, but it's Mountain Rushmore. That's correct. And that's the story behind it. Live and learn. You pay top quality talent to read, and guess what? They read no matter what you put on the paper.
Did
without
you write
question.
MOUNTIAN or MTN? You wrote the whole thing out.
No, I had to have written the whole thing out because he said the whole thing. mean, I could go back and get all the emails and stuff, but I remember doing
because
that.
Because if I was reading it, I would have read MTN as mountain.
Well, look, if I was reading it,
is Mount.
I would have, on my own, I would have said Mount Rushmore. Even if it would have said mountain, I would have said Mount Rushmore because Rushmore followed it, and I just would have said Mount Rushmore. And then if I had to make the re-edit,
you know what it's supposed to be.
Yes, but I'm not a professional. This is what's
You know, look,
distinguishing. He's a professional.
this-
He's paid to read, not think. Read with his voice.
I have this argument with Max all the time.
Who?
When we put words on the screen,
yes,
if it's a thought or from what one of him or Chance has said and you couldn't hear it, so they put the words up on the screen so you can read it. It comes up on the screen and I read it a lot. I read the words out loud as I'm reviewing the video, and 90% of the time the words come off before I finish the sentence or two. And I call Max up and I go, you got to leave it up longer. He goes, it's up long enough. I go, here's the problem. It's up long enough because you know what they say.
Yeah.
You have to imagine you're somebody that's never seen those words before. And I want you to read them out loud as they appear. And if you don't get to the end of the sentence before it comes off the screen, it's not up long enough. I'm not my age for nothing. I've learned some shit.
That's right. Take note, youngster. Listen to the
Exactly.
talent.
God.
Yeah, I mean, he's replaceable. What does he know? New segment on the YouTube channel called Legit or Shit.
Yeah.
But it seems to be like a one-episode segment.
We've only done it once.
All the other release, I thought it was going to be an ongoing thing for a number of weeks in a row or
Well,
something.
ongoing doesn't mean every week, three times a week.
How do I book on? Is once a month? What's it going to be when you feel like it?
When we find something that we want to do.
I don't like that. I think it needs to be regularly scheduled if you're going to make a bit out of it. If you're going to name it, it's got to happen.
No, I don't think you. No.
That would be like me doing the Assurity
Listen,
questions
you
like
wrote
every third
Mountain
week.
Rushmore. Why do I have to take your advice?
All right, give me a break. It's funny.
So, by the way, that thing, for people that don't know, we found a recipe online that had 64 million views. People took chicken legs and cooked them in milk with a little garlic and some seasonings, and then did the egg thing and the crispy panko, and then deep fry them. And when I tell you they were some of the best fried chicken legs I've ever had, I am not exaggerating one little bit. They were so good. They were so good that I went to the Cuckoo's Nest, our fried chicken restaurant, and got with our executive chef and said, I want to try this and see, maybe it'll be a fun thing to do with other chicken. So I did it with thighs, and they were nowhere near as good, and I don't know why.
Versus legs?
No, I need to F around with it a few more times. There's something about those chicken legs, it just worked, man. Damn, were they good.
Look, I'm skeptical on the milk doing anything. I think you could have had, what was it, 3/4 cup whole milk and a 1/4 cup of water or whatever the mixture was.
Equal parts milk and
I think you could have had all water. And done it. And it would have been the same. I think that milk did.
I don't know.
Shit.
I don't think so. It was really good.
But it didn't sat in there for like what, an hour, less?
Yeah, less than an hour.
Yeah, and that and on top of it, you're parboiling it in this milk water,
simmering. Yeah.
So you're taking some of the fat out of it by simmering it like that, because that's what my mother-in-law does to cook.
But there's
chicken.
fat in milk. I use whole fat milk. So
yeah, but the
by
milk's
your
not
argument,
going into the meat.
Listen, but your argument, boiling it and cooking it in water would have taken even more fat out.
Well, I mean, milk's mostly water.
You got nothing else for us to talk about tonight but this?
Well, let's talk about Blackstone.
Go ahead.
Where are you on Blackstone brand, and where are you on actually cooking with the Traeger Flat Rock? Compare, contrast. Go ahead. I never cook on the Blackstone. Okay, now we got that out of the way. Now, what about the Blackstone?
Well, that's really good. So you just said I never cook on the Blackstone.
Oh, I mean, I never cook on the Flat Rock.
Yes. Not
I can
true.
edit that. I can edit that.
Not true. Used it for some family stuff quite recently. In fact, we shot the other day, and I was going to use it, but it was just easier. The Evo is right there. The cameras are there. There's no movement. You don't have to get up and take shit over and then come back. So the ease of use is not an insignificant point for us. Blackstone, we have at the Little Italy Food Hall where our restaurants are. And I do we cook on it monthly for demos or new taco rollouts and stuff. In fact, Friday, if you're in the area, from 6 to 8, we'll be debuting our new taco for August. It's the chicken shawarma taco. And it is, I said in the video that we put up today, I'm not saying it's the best taco we've ever made, but I'm not saying it's not. One bite, we were all like, holy shit, it is so damn good. So I used the Blackstone quite a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I've not used the Flat Rock nearly as much. But in the world of flat griddles, I'm a fan. I don't know that they'll be 35% of the market in the next couple of years. I do think that they clearly have becoming way popular.
Mm-hmm.
When people say to me, I'm redoing my backyard, what should I get? They go, I'm thinking of a gas grill and what else? I go, okay, I would tell you this. Forget the gas grill because it's a one-trick pony. I would get something that you can do charcoal in. And whether it's a hybrid or even just like a Weber would be fine, right? Old school kettle Weber. You can cook hot on it. You can cook low and slow on it. But you at least have the options. And being able to cook on charcoal or briquettes, for people that only cook on gas, it's a game changer.
Mm-hmm.
It's a flavor changer. It's a really great thing. So I say I would get something that you can cook hot and low on with charcoal or briquettes. And you can go as cheap as a couple $100 for a Weber or 150, whatever they are. And I would get something flat because that also changes how you cook. I love cooking on the flat. We love our Evo. The restaurants, everything we do is almost everything we do is on the flat. All not tacos is a flat top. Hamburgers obviously is a flat top. And there's so much you can do. And I think people feel like they're limited to bacon, eggs, and fried rice. And that's absolutely not true. You can do all kinds of stuff on those things.
Any experience with Combustion Inc.'s wireless thermometer since the last time?
Yeah, you asked me about it forever and ever, and I never used it. I now have become a real fan of it.
Are you a devotee?
I don't know really what makes one a devotee, Mr. Rempe, but I love the fact that it seems super accurate to me.
Yeah. Did you boil water test it?
No, I haven't boiled water tested it. I know you always do that. That's your thing.
Yeah, but that's how you know. It's not like I'm a snob. Like, that's how you know.
I trust that Chris knows what he's doing.
You trust nobody ever.
I trust Chris.
Nobody.
Come on. You made fucking Jewel. That thing's the best one out there. It's genius. And he started Chef Steps.
Trust but verify, Sam. I can leave you with a piece of information tonight. Trust but verify.
I love the fact. So here's what I like. I like that that it not only tells you what the temperature is. And I don't care really so much about ambient temp. That's interesting. Surface temp. I don't really care about that. I'm all about the core.
Okay.
So I like the fact that it not just seems to be very accurate to me, but that it will also tell you what percentage it's done and when it's going to be finished. And that's interesting because we all know the difference between medium rare and medium well plus could be literally a couple of minutes. And if you cooking away and you look at your thermometer, stick it in the thing, your meter, whatever you're using, which I can never get those to work. And I see them used all over the place. I cannot seem to get them to work. If you see it's 118 and you know you want to yank it at 130, for example, you can look at that and go, oh, fuck, I'm good. I got lots of time. And you go inside and you get your rest of your meal started. You get a drink. You go to the bathroom. You do email or whatever. You come back. You could be at 140. I like knowing this thing tells me you got 5 minutes left, Charlie. I go, okay, I'm really not going anywhere. coming back in 5 minutes. That's why I like it.
What do I want to make for dinner tomorrow night?
You know what I'm having tonight? I'm having miso soup with tofu. You a miso soup fan?
Oh dear. I mean,
I have some salmon, essentially tartare to go with it. You know, green onions and sesame seeds and stuff.
I've never.
It's a decidedly Japanese dinner for me.
I've never had miso soup in my life.
Why? Oh,
you know why?
They have Japanese restaurants in.
Yes, of course they do.
In
but
Bomb City, don't they?
There's green onion and miso soup.
So ask for it without.
No, I'm not going to do
It's
that.
a little sprinkling on top, unless you're like me, and then you cook the miso soup with larger pieces of it in there.
I just haven't had it. If I go into the Japanese restaurant, I'm getting sushi. That's it. I don't want to mess around with anything else. I want to live with the blinders on, get my sushi.
What's your
2,
favorite
3, 4
sushi?
rolls.
Hey, if you tell me
I don't
something with fucking cream cheese in it, I'm going to hang up right now.
I don't like salmon at all. I've tried it many times. I like tuna as a meat. I like the rice. I like I don't know, like
spicy tuna,
mango. Yeah, spicy tuna or regular tuna. You know, shrimp, crab, all that shit. I like spicy mayos. I like avocados on them. I like sometimes I like mango slices. There's a place I go that puts mango on. It's got some weird roll.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah,
it's got to be right beside the Troy Pollo restaurant.
Yeah, right? I'm not averse to cream cheese, but it doesn't have to have cream cheese in order for me to like it.
No, it shouldn't. That's nothing that makes even sense.
So no,
a Philadelphia roll is horrifying. Cream cheese and rice. Come on, man.
I don't know.
Who invented that
certainly
shit?
I'm certainly not a sushi expert by any stretch of the imagination. And if they're westernizing a lot of these rolls, I wouldn't be any of the wiser. Except I do know this. Don't you dare put any onion on it, and don't you dare put any goddamn cucumber on it. I don't know where you live, Sam, but it appears that all of the sushi rolls in Cleveland and the greater surrounding metropolitan area have cucumbers in them. Is that a thing?
I will say it's a pretty popular ad. Yeah.
Screw that. I mean,
I think they feel like it rounds it out. It's not expensive. Who knows?
Cucumbers.
It's a little bite of freshness in the middle.
It's amazing how I can hate cucumber and love pickles. Certainly, it's way different. But I mean, it's being born from the same thing. But man, I can't stand a cucumber.
We just made 15 big quart jars of dill pickles the other day. We're a week and a half in. We got to go 3 weeks before we can try them.
You and Kelly are at the restaurant?
Yeah. No, me and Kelly. Yeah.
It'd
be too big an operation for the restaurant. Dill pickles, yeah.
Well, if they're good, then send me a quart. I like pickles.
If they're good, they're valuable to send. If they suck, I'll send you a quart.
So don't tell me. If I don't get any, I'll know they were really good. And if they show up, I'm going to throw them the fuck out.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. All right. So Sam the Cooking Guy is here. You can find him on the YouTubes over at thecookingguy.com. There's 3.56 million of you that have subscribed to him as of 11:30 a.m. this morning when I checked it.
Nice.
And make sure if you want all the gear that he is selling, you go to shopstcg.com and you can find him right here on the first Tuesday of every month in the second hour. Sam, always appreciate the time, and we will see you in September.
Buddy. Good seeing you.
You too.
Yeah.
Love you.
What'd you just say? September. Yeah. September.
Wait. Yeah, September. Holy shit.
Yeah. Wow.
2023 rapidly coming to a close.
Wow.
All right.
Coming to an end.
Bye-bye.
All right, man.
Bye.
Baby.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye. That's Sam the Cooking Guy, everybody. Thecookingguy.com is the website. Shop STCG for the gear, and we have the Griddle Guys coming up next. If you are looking for a way to monitor up to 6 different temperatures simultaneously, having connections through Wi-Fi or through the Bluetooth, you just need to check out Fireboard 2, Fireboard 2 Drive, or Fireboard 2 Pro. If you have Alexa, the Google Assistant, or other smart speakers, you're in luck because Fireboard is mostly integrated with all of them. So instead of looking at your phone, you can just say, "Hey, Google, Or, hey, Alexa, tell me what Fireboard Channel 1 is, and it'll tell you what temperature it's at. It's great. Always coming out with new products, always coming out with new enhancements. The analyze or predictive portion of the Fireboard has been a game changer for me, so that'll tell you can anticipate that the food's going to be done at X time, and you can see a graph. It's all great. Great information. Fireboard.com is the website. You can call them and ask questions at 816-945-2232. We're back to close out the show with our last guest here talking about the first ever griddle competition that may just sweep the country. Stick around. We'll be right back.
You're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Let's get back to a guy who has more experience giving you his opinion than he actually has cooking. Once again, here's your host, Greg Rempe.
If you were in Eureka, Illinois on July 15th, and maybe you saw or took part in what is being billed as the first of its kind griddle battle, there is no arguing that the griddle segment has seen an explosion in popularity the past years, and Blackstone continuing to lead the way, although there are now a number of other viable options at various price ranges in the market. But Blackstone stepped up to this event, and here to talk about it and what the future might hold for griddle battles are the organizers. Both first-time guests. We welcome Brandon Bressner and Ryan Hoogland to the show. And let me see if I can do this right. All right, guys, appreciate you joining here. So we have Ryan to the left of me, or right if you're looking at the screen, right. And then Brandon is below me right there. So, guys, appreciate you joining me. Before we get into talking about the griddle battle and how it all came to be, we'll get a little professional and cooking background on you guys. Ryan, why don't you go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, thanks for having us on the show. We really appreciate it.
Yep.
My background started off as barbecuing and smoking, and about 3 years ago, I got myself a Blackstone, and I haven't turned back since. It's been a game changer for me. There's so much you can do on them. So, yeah, just enjoy it.
Brandon, what are you up to?
So started green egg guy back in 2003, and then started competing in 2011 for a couple of times and realized, wow, this is a lot of work. Then became a barbecue judge, been doing that since 2011, and then started became an organizer in 2016 for the competition, Central Illinois Barbecue Throwdown. So I've been doing all those things since then.
Ryan, are you and Brandon longtime buddies?
What about 2 or 3 years now? I actually competed for the first time when I met Brandon at the backyard competition for the Central Illinois Barbecue Throwdown.
Brandon, do you find that you have a instant kinship with Ryan, or was he a bit of a hard-to-take kind of guy and you had to wear yourself into him?
No. Yeah, I think it was pretty much an instant kinship, I'd say. I learned pretty quickly that he had quite a following on Facebook with his barbecue Blackstone and beer site, and said, "Boy, there's something there." And as an organizer, that's what I was interested in as well. Thinking, hey, there's a lot of people like these griddles. Maybe we should do something.
So we obviously know Brandon had mentioned there a couple seconds ago that he was sounded like a competition barbecue guy, but then he got a Blackstone and he said, "F all that. I'm going to solely focus on Blackstone." Are you a griddle devotee of some sort as well?
Brandon or me?
Brandon.
I'm fairly new to it, actually.
Yeah.
I've had one for a couple of years and haven't done a lot with it, but now recently with the first ever griddle battle, got me very interested in meeting all the new cool people that are into griddle cooking. It's definitely sparked the interest.
All right, Ryan, so I probably confused you because I probably said Brandon at the same time.
Yep.
You've kicked off the competitive barbecue bug and taken on the griddle full time. What was attractive to you about it to begin with? Because usually people, especially competition barbecue guys, they might meander around a little bit and some other things, but they will at least keep their feet in it. Why did you run away?
Well, it's just starting off, and a couple teams kind of dissolved themselves. You look at getting into a griddle, and the barbecue competition, all the meat that you have to buy and all the practicing you have to do. There's just a lot more costs that there are in KCBS competitions compared to cooking something on a griddle. I mean, I don't have to go out and buy a $300 brisket and practice 6 or 7 times for one competition, so it's definitely the cost efficient side to it.
I don't know whoever wants to start answering this question, just go ahead, but is there a few conversations that take place over a few different months or a few different meetings between you guys? I don't know how close you live to each other or if you see each other at the local bar or whatever and it's regular conversation, but how does this griddle battle start to come together, and when do you decide to breathe some life into this?
Well, Brandon has organized the Central Illinois Barbecue Throwdown for many years now, and he reached out to me and was the second person to reach out to me about doing a griddle competition. And after two different people reach out to you, you're like, maybe there's something there. So try to say, hey, let's see what we can do. Let's throw it together. And then we, there were many conversations over the phone through the time in the beginning, and then we just got it together.
Yeah.
Brandon,
yep.
You have the experience, obviously, putting barbecue events on. This is obviously a little bit of a different thing. So what's similar and what's different when you're trying to do what's kind of groundbreaking in the competition scene right now?
Yeah, so you're right. Yeah, with the competition, getting hold of Ryan, I'm like, hey, this is a great way to try this out. I already have a competition. We can add this right onto the side. The venue's already there, so what a great way to get it kickstarted. So that was very nice, and I knew it. With short cook times, that's nice and easy. And then the difficulty or the challenges were figuring out, okay, how are we going to score this? Who's going to score it? Who's going to judge? How do we score it? Do we use this organization's scoring style? Do we use that one? Or do we need to come up with our own? And so we came up with our own scoring criteria. And so I think it's fun. It's different than anything else out there. So anyway, that's...
The possibilities are endless on what you can do on a griddle itself. So that's the versatility of it. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, dessert, soups, biscuits and gravy. I mean, there's just so many different things. People look at a griddle and they're like, "Oh, well, how are you supposed to do a soup on there?" You throw a pan right on top of your griddle and it works just as good. Like we had Griddles and Vittles with Nick and Jay. Threw in a deep fried Juicy Lucy burger. And Brandon asked me later, and he goes, well, wait a second, was that done on the griddle? I'm like, yeah, you put a pan on, you throw some oil in there. There you go, Griddles and Vittles right there. My guy Fred Dudek from Little Bird Kitchens with his, I want to say it was like a Greek-style burger with his salt-cured egg yolk shredded onto the top of his burger was just out of this world. I mean, Smoking Griddle Boys. I mean, there was just so many people down there that just had such a great time. Griddles and Vittles with Nick and Jay, their parents were there with them, and they were forced to cook in the griddle battle and compete, and they actually took 5th place overall. I mean, It's just things like that, and it started off as I want this thing to grow and have some fun with it, but then it turns into you get to see people and meet them in person that I've talked to for almost 2 years now, and so that was an even bigger bonus to the griddle battle itself.
So the initial or inaugural event that goes off on July 15th appears to have been sponsored by Blackstone, obviously the leader in the griddle market here. So does somebody have a direct relationship with the Griddle Corporate, or was something put together with one of the dealers where they were, using some type of co-op fund or something like that?
So I am part of the Blackstone Griddle crew. There's probably about 15 or 20 of us that are in the Blackstone Griddle crew, so that's how the connection came about. Just a bunch of great cooks all over the U.S., even out of the country. We've got one up in Canada as well, cooking. So the Ginger Ninja Griddler is great. There's just so many people. It's just a whole different community. Brandon and I talked after the event, to where in KCBS Barbecue Comp, it's a lot of people are kind of secretive. They don't talk about what they do, and they keep it out there. Whereas in the griddle world, it's, hey, this is what we're doing. Come check it out. We want to show it. We're all over Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, showing off what we can do, because that's what we love to do. A lot of great pages that were with, mine, Barbecue Blackstone and Beer, started off as fun. I didn't think it would grow to anything where I'd be sitting here talking, being on the same show as Michael Symon. I'm just like mind blown right now. It's kind of mind boggling.
The same show as Greg Rempe.
Yeah, I mean, come on, Brian.
Yeah, good.
Start at the top. Thank you, Brandon.
Yeah.
Hey, Brandon, how many people are signed up for this event? In your opinion, how do you think it came off?
Yeah, I think it came off really well. Again, getting those cooks that are just so good at what they do, and from around the country, coming 6-7 hours away to drive and to do this competition, just to try it out, just to be with other griddle people. It was a great time, and we've got the next one planned for October 14th in Yorkville, Illinois. And we've already got a lot of interest in that. And so, again, what we said before, where these people actually got to see each other for the first time. And that was huge. That's what makes guys barbecue, the competitive barbecue guys get together or to do it. A big part of that is getting to see all their friends again every time they compete. And that's something that it's just awesome. You get a whole new family, a whole new community when you're involved in competitive cooking. So it's awesome.
Ryan, Brandon had mentioned from a scoring perspective, we didn't know if you were going to use a sanctioning body's rules and somehow apply them to the griddle battle, if you're going to go out and do something all on your own. You decide to do your own rules. So what were they specifically, and how do you apply, or how do you implement them?
I was going to try to think of this, and I couldn't remember off the top of my head. I mean, a lot of it was our presentation, of course, is overall one of the categories. Taste, the completeness, and the creativity. Brandon's got it in front of him. I know he does.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm writing it down. So we do presentation, flavor, execution, which is basically, that's kind of an outlier. That's different. But execution, how well did they cook it? It's a burger, but was it undercooked? Was it not cooked well? Were the eggs soupy or whatever? So the execution score wouldn't be that high. So that's why we added that. And then we also have creativity. So that's kind of the final part that we score that helps out. If you cook a burger, great. Or if you cook a burger like Nick and Jay did, that's got jalapenos in the bun and it's got fried onion rings or whatever. That's a lot of creativity in that. So of course that would score higher. So that's how we've kind of built our scoring.
Is there a cash prize payout to the winner, or any other prizes that go along with taking grand champion for the day?
Yeah, we've had each category we had trophies for first and second, and then grand champion and reserve grand champion, of course, and then we did end up paying out through fifth for this last griddle battle, which was great. So depending on how things go for the next one and what we can get lined up, we're already in the works. We just got everything done, just got the flyer made for October 14th, so we're really excited about that one too.
So we have October 14th lined up, but let's talk about a little bit more long-range goals. Are you looking to get some kind of a standalone series going? Would you look to partner with KCBS? I know in the beginning of the show I said they kind of missed the boat as SCA was ramping up. They seemed almost unwilling to co-hitch wagons where you would do a steak contest on a Friday and then turn around and do the KCBS stuff on Saturday, Sunday, depending on how many days that KCBS contest was. Could you get interest from a sanctioning body like that, a barbecue sanctioning body, and tie a griddle contest to the front end of that on a Friday night and then have a barbecue competition on Saturday? Is that the goal?
The door's always open, right? I'm not going to say no.
I don't know.
But,
is it?
You never know. I mean, yeah, the door's always open to talk about something. This next event is a standalone event. I mean, there is no other barbecue competition with it. It is just a griddle battle on the 14th of October. So we'll see how that goes and see what the interest goes. I do know I had a lot of the KCBS Master Series teams from the Central Illinois Barbecue Throwdown came up and talked to me afterwards. It's like, this was such a great idea. I wish I would have just had more information on it or a little more time. The hard part that we had with that event was trying to get our timelines in line with KCBS timelines so it didn't interfere too much. But if we can arrange something, and it could be a standalone or it could be a tag along thing. It's the possibilities are endless.
Brandon, would you like to see the griddle battle become its own version of SCA, where it's not tied to anything and you're just more and more popular every year?
Well, I mean, it's hard for me to say right at the moment. I know that we're open to anything.
Anyone watching barbecue television? Brian, you down for BBQ USA or barbecue? Oh, sorry, let me stop that. Or BBQ Brawl? You watching those?
I haven't had cable in probably 10 years, so I'm sorry.
Right. No doubt. Brandon, you watching BBQ USA or BBQ Brawl?
Yeah, Michael Symon. Yeah, I love seeing him come out there, and it's great. Yeah, it's great to see him, shake hands there and talk with guys that I know from the competition series. So yeah, that's awesome.
So we have October 14th on the docket. Is there somewhere people can go online to get more information, or do they want to look you up on your Facebook club and see how they can enter?
Right now, you can check out Barbecue Blackstone and Beer. Throw that up there if you want to get a little. That's our Facebook group there. Oh, There you go. And then if not, you can go on Facebook as well and search for the Griddle Battle. We've got the page there as well.
Facebook.com/griddle.battle.
Battle.
Yeah.
What's the entry fee for one of these things, Brandon?
So they are for the two. The one in Eureka was 2 entries, and that was $50. This next one's going to actually be a 3 entry, so that'll be $75. So we're going to do. Oh, you help me out here. We're going to do breakfast, sandwiches, and then dessert. Right? Yes.
It just opens it up. I mean, you say breakfast. I can do. Okay, I'm going to turn in bacon and eggs, or I'm going to turn in red velvet pancakes. Just the breakfast combinations. I was upset that I didn't get to cook in this first one with organizing it, but then at the same time, after seeing everything that was turned in, I'm glad I didn't cook.
Yeah.
Oh, the creativity was unbelievable. It was phenomenal. Yeah.
So I think as somebody that's just maybe getting into his first flat top, maybe in the next month or two, that would be me. The initial thought is very close-minded. I'm going to do smash burgers and then fried rice of some sort or tacos, whatnot, fajitas. And then immediately I'm like, well, then is that all I'm going to eat off of this thing? But to have something like this that now allows you to see all of the other things that you can do. And as you said, drop a pan down on there, drop a pot down on there. You can make spaghetti. You can do the soups. You can do whatever. It's just another heat source like it would be in your kitchen, except now you're outside amongst the outside elements and just doing it out there and not getting the kitchen stinky and hot.
That's exactly how.
And I know one of the stipulations with the griddle battle is everything has to be done on the griddle, plain and simple. So I know we're just talking to people about the next one. They're like, "Oh, I can cook some pulled pork and then I can heat that up on there." Well, no, because you cooked it on your smoker, so that doesn't count. But that's the only stipulation is everything has to be done, start to finish, on the griddle.
And that can be any griddle that you want. There's, and we even put a hot metal plate on your Weber. That's a griddle. And if you can do it well on that, yep.
Well, we got Brandon Bresner here. We got Ryan Hoogland, and October 14th. Hoagland, sorry. Is there 2 O's in there, Ryan?
Trust me, I've dealt with it for 43 years.
Well, look, somebody who's
I can throw everybody for a loop and go, hey, it's Hoogland.
Oh, all right. Well, let's stay with Hoagland for now.
Right.
As somebody who has a last name that's continually butchered, I apologize for the Hoogland when it should have been Hoagland. But next time, I'll get it right. I promise you that. If you're interested in signing up and being one of these teams for October 14th, you know where to find these guys. Put your entry fees in, and then try your hand at all sorts of delicious griddle items. Guys, appreciate the time, continued success, and we will track October 14th, see how it goes.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Craig. We really do appreciate it.
There they are. Brandon and Ryan, check them out. The Griddle Battle, and we'll see if there's something. Maybe, just maybe, we are on the precipice of what the SCA was like years and years ago, remember talking to some folks going, that thing's not going to make it. And then all of a sudden, boom, it took off. Everybody saw. I mean, it also closed in pretty quickly as far as, what's winning. Hopefully the griddle battle, if it really gets steam and starts to take off, that creativity is continually rewarded, and it's not a rush to do what's winning. That's obviously happened in competition barbecue, which has driven a lot of people away. And we talked about that with Michael Symon and Darren Warth. And then SCA has really shrunk down into what appears to be winning, and all the teams are racing to do that. So I would really prefer to see if the griddle battle really starts to heat up and starts to grow, become its own sanctioning body. I would really love to see that, not get hitched to anything, or be their own thing. And if you want to hitch up to it, certainly they're open to that. Why not? But creativity needs to be rewarded continually in order for this to not close down into what competition barbecue and SCA has. Not saying that they aren't successful or experiencing popularity, certainly, but I think creativity needs to be there as the baseline or a cornerstone as you're building something. So we thank those guys for coming on, and we are all done here this evening. So let me go ahead and remove these, and away we go. All the way back in the first hour was Michael Symon, host of BBQ USA, Symon's Dinners. He's got a book coming out. Doug Trattner is a national treasure. Well, that is confirmed. Michael Symon said that the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to make it into the NBA Finals. I don't think so. There's not a bigger Cavs fan than me. I think that was bold. I like bold, but I don't think that's right. And then, after Michael Symon, we had Darren Warth, what many consider to be the greatest of all time on the competition trail. He's got a new podcast out, Cue the Mic. Check it out on all podcast platforms. Second hour, saying The Cooking Guy, of course, thecookingguy.com and shopstcg.com. And then we ended it with Brandon Bressner and Ryan Hoagland from the Griddle Battle. Find them over on Facebook. And if this thing grows, I'm sure they'll get their own website. It'll be all great fun. But for $75, October 14th, if you got creativity, you got a flat top, you need to be getting to Illinois in order to take part in that. Support it. You love it. We got a big show planned for you next week. Meathead will be back around, amongst others. Robert Moss. It's a jam-packed show, I'm telling you that. Roger Daly from Blackstone is going to be in next week, if you can believe it or not. We'll talk to him about the griddle battle. So how do I always leave you? September 11th, 2001. I will never forget until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. This is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now.
It's Sam the Cooking Guy, and you're listening to the BBQ Central Show. Some call him a fool, some even call him a douchebag. But I say Greg Rempe is the greatest thing to happen to barbecue since cavemen.